Victoria Azarenka making her first appearance in the semifinals here at the BNP Paribas Open. She will square off against the number 4 seed, Zvonareva. A beautiful day in Indian Wells, California. It's always beautiful in this part of the country. Here's a look at our schedule. The women's semifinals take center stage first. Azarenka will meet Zvonareva. Novak Djokovic will face Andy Roddick later in a men's quarterfinal. And then tonight, back to women's semifinals, 7:30 local time. Ana Ivanovic, the defending champion of this event, will take on up-and-comer Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. It's been an exciting week already here at the BNP Paribas Open. Last year we had a Serbian sweep. That still has the potential to happen again, as both Serbs, Ana Ivanovic and Novak Djokovic on the men's and women's sides, are playing today in the semifinals. Roger Federer and Andy Murray tomorrow will give us a rematch of the 2008 U.S. Open final. They will play in the men's semifinals here at the BNP Paribas Open. The top 4 men's seeds are still in the draw. Andy Roddick is the only American remaining, and we haven't had an American champion of this event since 2001. That was Andre Agassi. And hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Another beautiful day here in Indian Wells, California. I'm Sam Gore, along with 2-time champion of this event and former world #1, Lindsay Davenport. Lindsay, we're going to see Victoria Azarenka first. This is a real treat because she is the newest member to the world's top 10. And statistically, she's had the best start of the year from anyone on the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour, but she's sort of been under the radar, but she's not under the radar anymore.
Absolutely not, and those of us in the tennis world have talked about Victoria Azarenka for a couple years being the next big thing, and so far in 2009 she's proven all of us right.
She had a huge win in her last round against the #1 seed Dinara Safina. Safina also ranked #2 in the world.
Such a great match, and Dinara Safina squeaked out a tight first set. You kind of got the feeling at the time that she might run away with this match, but Victoria Azarenka hung in there. She fought the entire time. Her game continued to rise in level, and she just kept being aggressive. She just kept taking it to Dinara Safina.
There were ebbs and flows to this match. Azarenka would get defensive, and then she would get aggressive again, and every time she did, you're right, it paid off.
And you can see what a big win this was for Victoria Azarenka. She was so excited, and a great opportunity for her left in this tournament.
Well, in terms of wins, it was the highest ranked opponent she had ever beaten. She is off to the best start of the year. As I said, 17-1. The only loss, I emphasize loss, was at the Australian Open in the round of 16 when she had to retire because she was sick against Serena.
That was such a shame. Very rarely do you see a player take it to Serena Williams, and that first set was all Victoria Azarenka, but her stomach flu and the heat started to play games with her, and she had to retire in that second set. Who knows what would have happened if she had been 100% healthy through the match.
Well, today she'll be taking on Zvonareva, who comes in ranked #6 in the world, but she's got the second best start to the year, 16-2 with a title, and she actually got into the top 5 after that Australian Open semifinal performance.
She's made such huge improvements the last 6 months with her mental game that was really holding her back for so long. She's always had the ability, and now she fights on the court. You don't see her getting as upset, and it's really helped her so much.
Zvonareva seeded #4 here against Azarenka, new to the top 10. How do you see this turning out, Lindsay?
I think this is the best matchup we've had of the tournament so far. Both these players, the hottest players of the year, except maybe Serena Williams, and I think it'll be a very close match.
So Zvonareva and Azarenka warming up. We're excited about this one. They'll play the first women's semifinal at the BNP Paribas Open in just a moment. Well, it's another hot one for these fans and players as they make their way into the Indian Wells Tennis Garden, as the temperatures once again here in the California desert approaching 90 degrees. The Sony Ericsson WTA Tour heat rule will be in effect for this match, so the players will be able to take a break if they split sets. But still, compared to what a lot of people around the country are facing right now, this is some great weather. Well, for the second straight match, Lindsay, Azarenka is going to face a player she's never beaten.
We faced this the other night when she was playing Dinara Safina. She was 0-3 as well and managed to turn that tide. And she's coming into this match never winning a set against Zvonareva.
Azarenka will be ranked no worse than #10 when the new rankings come out on Monday. If she gets to the final and is the runner-up, she could be 9. She could get to 8 if she wins the title. That's her coach. It was a nice moment with them embracing after that win over Safina the other night.
Really such a big moment in any player's career, that first time you break into the top 10. And some of that was the celebrating with her coach and her family the other night.
Azarenka still a teenager, and though she is originally from Belarus, she lives here in the United States, trains out of Scottsdale, Arizona, so she's very used to this desert heat in this part of the country, and is having her best BNP Paribas Open of her career. Zvonareva, very much a veteran, used to being in these type situations. Zvonareva in a tour semifinal. She makes a pretty big habit of this. It's her 39th career tour semifinal.
More often than not in these big tournaments in the semifinals, Vera Zvonareva would most likely be the underdog. She's been ranked between 8 and 16 for most of her career. So when you get to these big tournaments, you'd probably face a Williams or a Sharapova, and the tide has turned on this match where she is by far the favorite against an up-and-coming player.
How do you think she handles that?
Be interesting to see. She's made such improvements, like we discussed in the opening, with her mental ability. I think she has so much more confidence now than she used to. That should pay off.
Double fault to start the match. Azarenka with 2 titles this year. There's Zvonareva's coach, Samuel Sumik.
We're going to see a lot of hard baseline exchanges. Vera Zvonareva likes to stand very close to that baseline. She's a great retriever of the ball. She's very fast, so she doesn't actually have to back up all that much.
Well, Azarenka is going to try to stay aggressive in this match, she said. And at least she's committed to her shot there, though she missed it. It's game point Zvonareva. Zvonareva serving into the sun on that side. That's been the most difficult side to serve on all week.
These players are very similar in the way that both of their backhands are their better shot, the more solid side. Their forehands, while their forehands are good, that's the side that tends to break down on both of them.
And Zvonareva wins the opening game of the match. Hold serve. Zvonareva, though, Lindsay, as you said, I want you to expand a little bit about how much she's changed mentally on the court, because she used to have wild emotional swings, and I just wonder how you harness that.
It's one of the most difficult things to harness. I think it's probably easier to improve a shot than your mental strength. She would have wild breakdowns on the court, sometimes sobbing fits, broken rackets, and you never knew what exactly set her off. One missed backhand all of a sudden, and she would be extremely upset. As an opponent, you always knew that, and that was always in the back of your head. I never can give up, because you never know what can happen with Vera. Last year at the Tour Championship, she made such a huge leap in her ability when she made the finals, undefeated in the round robin, went on to lose to Venus Williams in a tight match, but had a great win over Jelena Jankovic, among others. But never once did you see her get down on herself, which is the key.
At that Tour Championship, she beat 3 of the top 4 players in the world, including Jankovic, as you mentioned. Azarenka off to a good start, 30 love. But Zvonareva, to get to the Tour Championships last year, though, Lindsay, she went on a marathon trek. She played 21 matches in 35 days, traveled almost 9,000 miles just to qualify for that event, and it definitely paid off for her as she made the final.
I was surprised she wasn't more fatigued at the Tour Championships after really flying all over to make sure she qualified.
Azarenka with a very impressive hold, holding it love. Coach will be happy about that. By the way, these two were doubles partners here
in the finals of the tournament later this weekend. So it's probably safe to say they've been practicing some together earlier in the week. Normally you don't play doubles with someone that's not a good friend of yours.
They're both very accomplished doubles players with Grand Slam titles, either in doubles or mixed for both.
Out. 15. Victoria Azarenka is going to want to look to attack the second serve of Vera Zvonareva. Both these girls have good first serves, but not weapons. You can see Vera Zvonareva's best Grand Slam results, and the last two are the ones that stick out in my mind. Semifinals of Australia and the U.S. Open.
That semifinal run at the Australian Open this year got her in the top 5 for the first time. Well, it's pretty much gone to form here through the first 3 games. It's just a slugfest to see who misses first or who can get the opening for a winner. No one's even thought about coming to the net yet.
That will probably be in very limited circumstances today. They have a swing volley, perhaps.
And right now it's just been who makes the error first in that scenario I described a moment ago. We have not seen a winner yet. 7 unforced errors for Zvonareva, 3 for Azarenka. Neither player's really been able to impose themselves on the other so far. 30 all.
Both players working the nerves out of their system in these opening games. And it took Victoria a bit of time the other night to really get her A game going. Really wasn't until the beginning of the second set that she started to play her best tennis.
First winner of the match, and it belongs to Azarenka to stay alive in the game.
Zvonareva not quite doing enough with this approach, but it was tricky. That ball stayed very low, so she had to hit up on it. Gave Azarenka some time, and probably could have gone anywhere with that pass. Both these girls will volley well, but probably don't cover the net all that well.
And back to unforced errors. Zvonareva, also a bronze medalist at the Olympics last year. That's when things started turning around for her. She ended the season so strong and has resumed that here in '09. And she's just out in front of Victoria Azarenka to start this women's semifinal. Well, coming into the week, this was the top 10 on the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour, and you don't see the name Victoria Azarenka because of Radwanska's loss here. Azarenka now will jump into the top 10, and Zvonareva can do no better than where she is right now, but I'm sure she's very happy to be at number 6 in the world.
Just one spot short of her career high at number 5, and lots of potential to move up in the coming months.
Craig Carden, Anna Ivanovich's coach. She'll be playing tonight. He's doing a little scouting out here.
Always good to be prepared. Well, Anna wins tonight. Will face the winner of this match in the finals on Sunday.
She plays Pavlyuchenkova, which is a very dangerous young player on the women's tour. And Lindsay, the future of the women's tour in terms of talent seems to be pretty secure right now. We've got a lot of young players coming up over the past couple of years.
A lot of great young players coming up. Unfortunately, none of them from the United States. We have a few good girls coming up, but really the ones making the break right now at 17, 18, 19 years old are from Europe. The ball is definitely flying on Azarenka today. She played it the night the other night. It's much hotter today. The conditions are much different. They are so light here. It's very easy for the ball to fly long on you.
Out here, though, does the heat affect the ball at all? Or is it just the air, as you said?
I think it's both the air and the heat, but definitely the air, probably the bigger factor. Should be used to it, practicing and living, training in Phoenix.
I would think, though, of the two, Azarenka's probably got a few more nerves to work through at this stage. I mean, this is a big event for her, coming off a big win. A lot of attention the last couple of days. She's been in the media a lot.
Absolutely. This big semifinal for her. She's been in semifinals of our Tier 1 tournaments before, never advancing to the finals. And all of a sudden you beat the number 2 player in the world, and people are now watching you with a closer eye, expecting another big win. See how she handles that as the day progresses.
Good point to win there at 30-all. Gives her game point. It's one thing that has impressed me with Azarenka is her poise and her comfort in the media and around the fans here. Azarenka holds. A well-constructed point by Azarenka, using that drop shot to draw Zvonareva in. And as we've already touched on, that neither player is very comfortable coming forward.
We mentioned their doubles skills a few games ago, and I think it's safe to say they basically play singles out on the doubles court. I did that for many years, never quite learned the doubles feel, and both these girls would do the same.
Zvonareva won the women's doubles at the U.S. Open in 2006 and has taken a couple of mixed doubles titles as well. U.S. Open in 04 with Bob Bryan, Wimbledon in 06. Azarenka also has a couple of mixed doubles Grand Slam titles. Bob Bryan and her won the French Open last year, and she won the U.S. Open with her countryman Max Mirny in 07. Usually, Lindsay, when you show up at a Grand Slam, both of these women are in all three events, singles, mixed, and women's doubles.
Most likely that'll start to change as they start consistently getting to the deeper rounds of the singles and the doubles. Your priorities definitely shift, and most women in the top 10 now just focus on the singles.
It's been a real treat on the men's side this week because 9 of the men's top 10 players in the world participated in the doubles.
Andy Roddick still alive in both.
Yeah, Roddick has to play singles and doubles today. He and Marty Fish will team up this evening after his singles match. They'll play Gasquet and Wawrinka, another couple of really good singles players.
And that's the ball you don't want to give Vera Zvonareva. She's such a good backhand, really can go either way with that shot. Has one of the best backhands up the line, and this time decides to go cross court with it. Any short ball to the backhand side is trouble.
Game point. And Zvonareva holds. Haven't had a break point yet. 3-2 opening set. Well, the woman beneath the towel is Vera Zvonareva, and this is nothing new, Lindsay. It has nothing to do with the heat. She always covers her head on these changeovers, doesn't she?
She does. It helps her keep her focus more. Tries to drown out any sounds in the crowd and any movement. Really just tries to focus on the game and herself.
She's been pretty focused so far. Azarenka serving at 2-3.
She's so solid. She's going to retrieve a lot of balls. She's also aggressive on short balls. Normally, you can overpower her. She's gotten better at defending the harder hitting players on the WTA Tour.
There's the second winner for Azarenka. Neither player's really been able to overpower the other so far, Lindsay. But what I like about this match, even though we've got a lot of unforced errors, is the errors are coming when they're going for their shots.
Absolutely. Victoria Azarenka did such a great job there of setting this short forehand up with a great forehand up the line, and she uses her up the line so well on both the forehand and backhand sides.
Point.
Called out and then corrected.
Yeah.
And Azarenka is going to challenge the call.
Because she called it slightly late after you miss it. So there's
no, she called it first out. But then
and she corrected. No. For me, she did it late, and then there's no point to challenge. But it was late, so it's point. If it's the ball, it's good.
And you can see that the correct call was when the linesman corrected her call. It was in, but Azarenka's argument was, you know, I had a play on the ball, and the umpires say, no, you didn't.
The umpire, in my opinion, made a bad choice there. Anytime, she did swing and miss.
She swings, misses, and she says out, correction.
Yeah, the umpire basically ruling she wasn't going to make that shot, and she'd already started her swing when the umpire finished her swing, excuse me, when the umpire called out.
So the point goes to Zvonareva, and she has the lead here, 15-30. And again, we haven't had a break point in this first set, and the other night against Safina, we saw a lot of breaks of serve.
And I thought there would be a lot of breaks today. Both these girls are excellent returners, and while their serves are good, they're not great or overpowering.
Well, we're about to see our first break point. And it belongs to Vera Zvonareva, 30-40.
Both girls already with 13 unforced errors, which is far too many considering there's only a total of 3 winners for both players. Expected a little bit of a cleaner match today.
And there's the break. And Azarenka trying to break her racket. First break of the opening set, and it belongs to Vera Zvonareva as the number 4 seed takes a 4-2 lead now.
Zvonareva just being more solid than Azarenka so far. She hasn't had to come up with anything too spectacular, but just keeping more balls in the court.
Well, I can't stress enough, Lindsay, for me personally following tennis, the change in Zvonareva mentally. I mean, even when she was winning, she would be emotional. You'd see a lot of fist pumps, or you'd see, you know, some come-ons and stuff. I mean, there's no reaction from her now. Very businesslike and matter of fact.
She's a very, very intelligent young girl, and sometimes the smarter players have a tough time. They realize when their big opportunity slipped away, or the big shot that they should not have missed has passed them by, and have a hard time moving on. And she's worked so hard with that with her coach Sam Sumik, who deserves a lot of credit for getting her more mentally stable out on the court.
A big return from Azarenka. You mentioned Zvonareva's intelligence, Lindsay. She already has 1 degree in physical education, and she's working on another one. She's enrolled in the Diplomatic Academy of the Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yes, with hopes of someday working for the UN.
Out on tour, we have a lot of girls that don't even have their high school diploma, let alone going for more degrees in the top 10. She's obviously very busy with her tennis schedule, traveling around the world, other commitments. Education is very important to her.
Zvonareva looking at life after tennis, would love to be an ambassador. But she's got a while to go in this sport. Azarenka very frustrated. This set may be getting away from her. 5-2. Well, during that changeover, Victoria Azarenka called her coach out onto the court to get some words of advice as she is in danger of losing this set now. She'll be serving at 2-5. And he was very positive, Lindsay.
One of the most interesting things for me being up in this booth is being able to listen in on these player-coach exchanges, and he did a phenomenal job, I thought. Talk about it more after this. It's not easy to coach one of these girls on the WTA Tour. I was told that many times by many people, but we saw the other night with Safina's coach how he just almost destroyed her, barely won a point after he came on the court, really being negative with her, and Azarenka's coach being so positive.
You're hitting the ball good, and that's it.
Make the ball in.
No, you were making the balls in. Just try to make her play a little bit more, especially on her serves, on your returns, okay? And it's just, you are pushing yourself down mentally. Just let's keep motivating here yourself. You can say good things to yourself, stay positive, and that's it. The game plan is what you've been doing. The first 3 games were perfect. You just missed a few, and she made a good point. Now, these last 2 games was the bad thing. Now, let's forget these, okay? Put these on the side, and make her play more. Follow the plan, because there's nothing to change with the plan so far. And mainly is activating yourself when she's serving for your returns, being positive and motivating. No matter what, it's not how you start the match, it's how you finish it. Okay? Let's try to keep the levels of energy always stable. Okay? Don't go down and up, especially mentally. Always motivating yourself. Okay? Right? Come on.
Get back to that coaching. That was very good stuff, wasn't it?
Really good. I love the point he made. It's not how you start the match, it's how you finish the match. And that was made true the other night with her win over Safina. And also just trying to get her to stay positive. He did talk about trying to make more returns in the court, but just trying to get her to believe. She said she didn't feel like she could make a ball in the court, and he was there telling her, you're doing fine.
And Azarenka responds. She holds serve. I mean, for me personally, I think I picked up a few tips on how to talk to my daughter. That was brilliant. I mean, very good stuff from the coach. And Azarenka, obviously very teachable.
One of the things her fitness trainer, Mark Wellington, says is her desire to get better. She wants to get better. She asks for input all the time. Very coachable young lady.
Zvonareva serving for the set. And as we were seeing on both tours, Lindsay, being coachable is such an important trait to have, because a lot of players in an individual sport feel like they know it all.
I wasn't the most coachable player, and it's so great to see someone like Andy Roddick talk about how he gives full say to the coach that he hires.
Well, a late call. Could not hear the linesman, but during that rally, Zvonareva's shot was called out on the baseline, and of course now she's challenging it. We couldn't even hear it called out.
Very late. They'd already hit 2 or 3 more shots.
And it was the correct call, just not very loud. So Azarenka's in an excellent position right now, up love 30.
And doing a better job with her returns, like her coach mentioned to her. Got to make Zvonareva play on her service games.
Azarenka, I found it interesting, after that Safina match, which had so many ups and downs for her, she said that at one point in the match, she thought of Rafael Nadal. That Nadal, the way he fights in matches, came into her mind, and that inspired her.
Nice field by Zvonareva there. It's one thing to think of Rafael Nadal, another thing to try and emulate him and be able to do that in the pressure situations. And Azarenka was the tougher player when it got close the other night. Safina falling apart at the end of the match.
So instead of set point, Zvonareva facing a break point, the first one she's faced in this set.
Zvonareva coming up with some excellent deep forehands there. And that's when Azarenka gets in trouble, when she's on the run to the forehand. Those have a habit of getting away from her. Doesn't stay down and through the shot when she's on the run.
Oh, yeah. Best shot on the court for Azarenka, that backhand.
Really a fantastic point, and again set up by Azarenka's forehand up the line. She gets the short reply, steps in, and really wins a lot of points using her up the line shots.
And she's rewarded with a second chance to break. Good response.
Both of these break points, Zvonareva's come up with good first serves. So she hasn't gotten down in the rally, that time taking it wide.
That is definitely not the old Zvonareva there. She has stepped up on the big points.
She also takes her time more now on big points. Before, when she tight moment and she would be upset, she would rush. Now she's very calm in her demeanor. Seems to have a purpose when she tosses that ball up.
Well, this is the biggest point of the set so far because it is set point for Zvonareva. Remember I told you Azarenka was thinking of Rafa the other night? She may want to run up to the top of the stadium and lean over and say, hey Rafa, I need some help, because he's on the practice court right next door. Zvonareva wins the first set. Well, the other women's semifinal will take place tonight. Ana Ivanovic, the defending champion, will take on Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova, the lowest ranked player left in the field, but red hot. And Ivanovic has put us on an adventure this week getting through her matches. I'm interested to see how that one turns out tonight.
A lot of viewers might not know Pavlyuchenkova, but they will. She's one of only 17 years old. Excellent future.
Got a 19-year-old right now serving. Also part of the future of this game. Victoria Azarenka dropped the first set 6-3.
15.
You're only allowed to have that coach come out once per set, which is too bad for Azarenka because she really responded to what he said right away. See if she can carry that over here into the second set. And there's a look at her coach, Antonio Van Grieschen.
Well, he delivered the right message. Now it's up to Azarenka to hit more balls in the court. Just too many unforced errors this match so far.
There's that swinging volley you talked about that we might see today, Lindsay.
Great recognition by Zvonareva here. Saw she had Azarenka on the run, immediately moved forward. A relatively easy volley for her.
First ace of the match from Azarenka. And Zvonareva is going to challenge it. And not a good challenge. Zvonareva loses one. But I guess, if anything, it breaks the rhythm of Azarenka. She serves now at game point. So how big a game is this for Azarenka?
2 challenges remaining.
These first few games of the second set, very important. Wants to change the momentum, and she was able to do that the other night after losing the first set to Safina. Came out, stormed to a good-sized lead in the second set. Definitely don't want to be down a set and a break. Start off the match.
Well, she's in danger of that happening as it's break point for Zvonareva. Double fault at break point. And Azarenka starting out with that dreaded set and a breakdown. Zvonareva off to a good start, though, here in the second set. Zvonareva, number 6 in the world right now. As high as number 5. And here's a look at the other Russians inside the top 10.
Remarkable. 50% of the players in the top 10 are all Russian, but they've just had an infusion of players the last few years. The one name missing that stands out to me is Maria Sharapova. We're so used to seeing her at the top of the rankings.
Sharapova originally had indicated she would make her return from shoulder surgery here in singles, decided not to play singles, but did play a round in doubles, lost, and now has gone ahead and pulled out of the next event in Miami, the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour event there.
Recovery taking longer than she had hoped, and for all the fans out there as well. Everybody in the tennis world misses her.
15.
Except maybe a few of the players that are accustomed to losing to her.
Well, the ranking has definitely reflected all this time off. Sharapova right now is 23 in the world, Lindsay.
Good.
Zvonareva has had one of the few benefits of Sharapova's injury, for lack of a better term. She originally was not scheduled to play the Olympics last year because Sharapova was on the Olympic team, but when she pulled out, Zvonareva got in and went all the way to the bronze medal.
Each country only allowed 4 singles players, and that just shows you how much Zvonareva's moved up in the past 8 months or so. Was the 5th ranked Russian last summer.
40 love.
We discussed this with Safina the other night, her improved fitness, but looking at Vera Zvonareva, she looks like she's in phenomenal shape now. She had a few years there where she was up and down with her fitness, but extremely lean and strong.
Well, just to play 21 matches in 35 days to end the year last year to qualify for the championships and then go there, play the top players in the world and get to the final, that tells you a lot about her physical condition, as well as her mental state. A love hold for Zvonareva. She jumps out to a 2-love lead.
Zvonareva leads 2 games to 1.
And she's playing out here today like she believes she should win this match. She's very focused, very confident. Quite a change, as we mentioned, from a few years ago.
Well, Azarenka said she thought of Rafael Nadal the other night, and it encouraged her to fight back against Safina. She needs something right now. She's in a little bit of trouble here.
15 love.
Zvonareva is also doing a nice job today of taking away the angle for Azarenka. She's hitting a lot of balls up the middle, really waiting to the right shot to pull Azarenka off the court. Really affects Azarenka's ability to have the angle up the line or the angle back cross court. And her depth has been phenomenal.
Well, the other night against Safina, Azarenka lost control of her emotions for a little while in the final set and then was able to settle down and eventually win the match.
She was down 3-1 in that final set.
And was in tears. And you get the feeling right now she's on the verge of being very upset. Is that something you're aware of as an opponent, Lindsay, or are you so focused on what you're doing?
Definitely aware of when you can sense your opponent's down. I never knew if my opponent was crying or not, but you can definitely sense a change in their overall demeanor. You definitely want to put them away at that point.
A good response from Azarenka at 30 all. That was a big point.
Huge point. Came up with some great shots there. Really needs this game to feel like to have a chance to come back in this match.
And nothing's come easy today for Azarenka. She's only hit 5 winners, 21 unforced errors. She has a lot of firepower. She just hasn't been able to find the inside of the lines.
Advantage Zvonareva.
Break point now as a result of that double fault. Her second. Here's a look at those unforced errors. Already 8 here in the first 3 games for Azarenka.
See how much Vera's cleaned up her game. Just the one error almost through 3 games. She moves way inside the baseline for this second serve.
Yes.
First time Zvonareva has failed to convert a break point.
Advantage, Azarenka.
Well, you said it was pretty much a must-hold for Azarenka, and she did hold serve. So Azarenka is still very much alive in this second set. Zvonareva had a chance to go up 2 breaks in that last game. Could not convert, but still has the comfort of knowing she is up 1 break in this second set. As these two battle for a spot in the final of the BNP Paribas Open. Zvonareva, a 3-time quarterfinalist here.
It'll be interesting to see how Zvonareva responds in the next few games. You always get the sense that if you can get up 2 breaks and a set, that the match is yours, and she had that break point. Missed a relatively easy backhand, and just 1 break now at 2-1.
I guess she's got a chance, Lindsay, to just show us how much of a change there has been in her. Second double fault of the match for Zvonareva. Both players with 2. Zvonareva has yet to serve an ace in this match.
I don't think that's a rare statistic for Zvonareva.
Her first serve percentage is suffering. It's below 60%, and she's only gotten 3 first serves in here in her first 2 service games of this set. And another double fault. She's not even on the sunny side, Lindsay. What's going on?
That will not make her happy. And if you have a first serve that's not winning you free points and not winning you aces, you should definitely have a high percentage. And for this set, only at 38% so far.
Wins the point when she needs it, though. 40-30.
Really like to see her serving in the 70s almost every set. She's not going for huge serves.
And Zvonareva gets through it to move ahead 3-1 now. And Azarenka screaming at herself on the other end. Would you And there's a look at Azarenka's emotional reaction. We saw that against Safina the other night. And to her credit, Lindsay, she had the little meltdown, but then got it back together enough to win the match, not just get back in a set.
She's a fighter. She's not going away today. But her game's abandoned her a little bit. She needs to find her range back on her ground strokes.
You mentioned Zvonareva's serve percentage. When you were playing, did you look at your stat sheet after matches? Did you pay attention to all that stuff?
Never. I didn't like to go over it too much.
But as a player, you didn't need a stat sheet to tell you weren't getting enough first serves in, right?
No, I knew that when my opponent was hitting winners by me off my second serve. I could figure that out.
Zvonareva's forehand just off the baseline. Azarenka couldn't handle it. Azarenka still firing away. She's still going for her shots. Hasn't backed off.
Zvonareva is the one playing a little bit farther behind the baseline now. Gives Azarenka a little bit more time to hit her shots.
Yeah. There's that fighting spirit we noticed the other night against Safina.
Zvonareva's ball is just not with enough depth in this rally. Azarenka has plenty of time to step in.
5 of her 11 winners have come from that wing. Azarenka holds, but she's got a 1-break deficit to make up. 3-2. The BNP Paribas Open first women's semifinal has lasted now 1 hour. Here is Zvonareva up a set and a break. But Azarenka starting to play better now. We'll see if Zvonareva can keep in front. Zvonareva has not been broken in this match. Well, double faults have become an issue here in this set for Zvonareva, and you see both of these among the leaders of match wins WTA Tour this year, but statistically speaking, Azarenka has the best record, 17-1. Zvonareva and Serena Williams both 16-2. Dmitrieva was at the top of that list, and she lost early here, complaining about all the tennis she had played. And I know you questioned her scheduling.
Going in the Australian Open, she competed in both the warm-up tournaments, won them both. Had played 10 matches before the Grand Slam even started. You're bound to get fatigued at some point. She actually did well at the Australian Open, but hit her a few weeks later.
That's a big chance here for Azarenka.
And that's where scheduling comes in. You have to be smart about your schedule. Obviously going to feel a lot of pressure to go to a lot of different tournaments and make sponsors and other people happy, but at the end, it's about what makes you win.
15-30.
Oh, big ace from Zvonareva to avoid break point. And that was her very first ace of the match. Winner from Zvonareva.
Fantastic defense from Zvonareva. Somehow she got on the offense in that rally with this backhand off the back foot. And again, that short backhand, it's pretty much good night when she sees that shot.
She was down love 30 and now has come back to tie the score. Still has some work to do, though. Well, to me, Lindsay, this has been a very entertaining match. I like how both of these players aren't, as they say, afraid to win. They're stepping up and going for it when they have a chance to close a game out.
Zvonareva being so clutch when she's been down. When she served for the first set, we had a tight game, and here at love 30, and comes up with some great shots.
And Azarenka comes up with a great one herself. Zvonareva had so many options. She's furious.
And the reaction on this point is pretty funny from Zvonareva. Didn't like the outcome of what happened.
Well, this game has been a game of missed opportunities for both players so far.
And that's exactly what you cannot do if you're Azarenka. Zvonareva has an easy forehand on game point. You manage to win the point and then miss a second serve return at deuce. Take all the momentum out of your sails with that.
Zvonareva guts through the game. And you talked about the reaction she had when she missed this ball. Watch it, Lindsay. But to her credit, she got it back together.
And that's what she's doing so much better these days. A lot of times she would have lingered over that miscue.
Looked like she was blaming the sun a little bit there.
It's always easy to blame something else.
No shortage of sunshine here in Indian Wells, California. The weather's been perfect from day one. Oh, great point. A little bit of everything in that point.
Great defense by Zvonareva. But Azarenka showing us some feel, both with the drop shot and the lob volley.
Yeah, I love how both players were able to change gears in that point because they were crushing it to start the point. Love hold for Azarenka. She's not going away, but she's down a break in the second. Here's Zvonareva trying to hang on and make her first final here at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California. The fourth seed up a set and a break, serving to the number 8 seed and newest member of the world's top 10, Victoria Azarenka.
It's been a tough matchup today so far for Azarenka. Zvonareva's hitting the ball quite deep and a little bit lower over the net than Safina. Safina gives you as an opponent some more time with her forehand. The ball sits up a little more. That allowed Azarenka to step into a few more balls, and today Zvonareva's balls are really pushing her back. It's so far today not been a good matchup.
Zvonareva has seemed to have very little room for error, but she's not making errors. You're right. She's painting lines. Ball's very deep. Azarenka with a thundering return to immediately get on the offensive.
Time is running out for Azarenka. She needs to get this set back on serve. She's got an opportunity here at 30-all.
And Zvonareva, who had been so good in the big points, finally loses one and will face break point now. First break point of the set for Azarenka, third of the match. Oh.
Yes.
And again, Azarenka failing to convert.
Zvonareva changing the pace up there, hitting her backhand much higher over the net, much softer, and Azarenka just mistimes his backhand.
Nice point from Zvonareva.
Advantage Zvonareva.
Confident play at such a big point. That's when the last few months and all the wins that she's had comes into play. She really believes in herself by virtue of winning so much.
And it's turning into a very tense game now. Zvonareva trying to protect her one break lead. Azarenka desperate to get the break back. Zvonareva could be a game away from the match if she can hold here.
Advantage Azarenka.
And misses another mid-court overhead. This time she tries to hit it conventionally instead of that swinging forehand. But it gives Azarenka a second chance to break in this game.
Deuce.
Well, we've gotten into a pretty predictable pattern right now. Zvonareva keeps losing these deuce points.
Azarenka needing to convert on one of these break points. The other night against Safina had such a high percentage of converting on break points, and today just hasn't been the case.
Zvonareva keeps denying that. That serve 105 miles an hour out wide. And finally, Zvonareva gets to game point after facing 3 break points. Zvonareva holds. It wasn't easy, but she gets through it. And her coach realizes that they are very close to personal history here as Zvonareva looking for a chance to make the final of the BNP Paribas Open if she can win one more game.
That's a tough game to come through for her. To get the opportunity to both return and serve for the match. Wanted to get that hold under her belt and fought off a number of break points, and that just shows how far she's come. Her mental maturity.
Azarenka's going to challenge that. We're right on that sideline, and I couldn't tell. That looked very, very close. Certainly worth a challenge.
Appeared to skid off the line. Oh.
And it did just touch it, you're right. So Azarenka will get that point.
15 love.
Yeah, I think the point was over when the ball was called. He called it after. Yeah.
A must-hold game for Azarenka. Well, that was interesting, Lindsay, because for the first time she backed up to hit a backhand instead of coming forward to hit it. Maybe showing a little signs of nerves right now.
Really just giving this game to Zvonareva. So many quick errors. Zvonareva just having to put the ball in the court.
So a match point comes with the latest miss from Azarenka. Zvonareva on the verge of making the final here in Indian Wells. Vera Zvonareva is our first finalist at the BNP Paribas Open in Indian Wells, California. An impressive straight set win over the winningest player on the Sony Ericsson WTA Tour, Victoria Azarenka, 6-3, 6-3.
Really such a great win for Vera Zvonareva. We were expecting a tougher, longer match, and she was by far the more solid player today.
Zvonareva had never been past the quarterfinals of this event until this week, and now she finds herself in the championship, where she awaits the winner of Ivanovic and Pavlyuchenkova. Ivanovic and Pavlyuchenkova will play later tonight to see who gets to face Zvonareva in Sunday's women's singles final. And we will talk to Vera Zvonareva when we return to Indian Wells, California. Vera Zvonareva has just become the first finalist at the BNP Paribas Open, beating Victoria Azarenka 6-3, 6-3. And Vera, I heard the courtside announcer ask you about it, but I'd love for you to share this with our audience. What's it like having to play your doubles partner today for such an important spot in the tournament, and you're going to have to play with her on the same side of the court later?
Yeah, it's never easy, you know. It's we've been playing some good doubles here, and we're going to be back tomorrow again for the final. So it's a tough one, but I'm sure we both gave it all today. We both tried our best, and I'm just happy to be through this one.
Hey Vera, it's Lindsay. Congratulations.
Hi Lindsay.
You're playing so solid, and mentally you just are so solid, saving every break point today, and was wondering how you improved on that so much over the past few months.
You know, I don't know. It just comes with experience. I think, you know, I played a few years on the tour now, and I think I've been through lots of different situations, and I'm just trying to concentrate on every point, trying to give my best out there, and I think the experience helps a lot.
Vera, I want our American television audience to get to know you a little bit better. You already have one degree in physical education, and from what I hear, you're working on another. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, you know, trying, because it's never easy, you know, playing on the tour and studying, but I'm trying my best. I'm at the Diplomatic Academy of the Ministry of the Foreign Affairs back home in Moscow, and I'm studying international economic relations. So it's you know, it's difficult. I'm trying my best. It's very interesting for me. I like to, you know, to do something else besides tennis. It keeps my head busy, and that's the best way for me.
Now coming up in the finals, you're going to meet either Ana Ivanovic or Pavlyuchenkova. Have you seen Pavlyuchenkova play much, and what do you expect from tonight's other semifinal? I
think it's going to be a very tough one, because I think Anastasia has a very good serve, and she was ranked #1 in juniors. That's how I know her. Never really seen her play and didn't get a chance yet, but I know she's a very tough competitor, and she has a big game. She's young and confident at the moment, and Anna is a defending champion here, so I think it's going to be a very interesting one, but I'm just going to try my best in the finals, and we'll see what's going to happen.
It was a very impressive outing today, Vera. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Vera Zvonareva in the finals of the BNP Paribas Open. We'll be back in just a moment.